I'm not going to paint these anymore. I give up. So, last year, the Horus Heresy boxed set came out, and I was very excited about the idea of getting a brand new army painted and on the tabletop to play some games. The plan was to film a video series, the one you're watching now, documenting the project from box to table, along with additional units along the way. The original plan was to have it painted and table ready within a few weeks, ready for the summer of 2022. It's now March 2023, and I think we can say that plan failed. Now, the original scheme was based on some old Hammer Night Lords. I'm sure you've seen the videos, similar to the Night Lords we all know and love, but with an old Hammer twist. We do love some old Hammer over here at Snakeworks. Now, I was dry brushing the army to do something a little bit different, and I feel it looked really nice. However, it ended up too nice, and I didn't just want to rush the rest of the scheme. Now, each step was taking me further away from my goal, which was to paint everything as quick as possible. I was starting to spend a lot of time worrying about the little details, which is exactly what I didn't want to do. That was the opposite of my original plan. Now, as you well know, it's been almost a year since the release of the Horus Heresy, and I still have nothing to show for it, and that's no good. The army is literally just base coated in the armour scheme. I spent hours fiddling around with little accent colours, like on the shoulder pads for example, or on the helmets, when I should have just been smashing the whole lot out. If I carry on with this method, it's going to take me at least another 6 months to get this army on the table, and that's unacceptable. I also have a lot less free time at the moment due to working on this channel full time, in between looking after a baby. When I was a lad, I would have had hours and hours spare each week to paint. Now I'm lucky to get just a couple of hours to paint a week, and that needs taking into consideration. Now, also, the army had started to cause me a little bit of stress and concern. It was playing on my mind a little bit. I'm now aware of another unfinished army sitting in a box, wasting space and going nowhere. I absolutely hate that feeling. There's nothing worse than seeing a half-finished box of miniatures that get further and further away from ever being painted. It's horrible. So here's my plan. I'm going to take drastic action. I need to be very specific about what my goal is and what's achievable. I need this army painted and finished in as little time as possible. It's going to have to be speed painted. I've decided I'm going to repaint the entire lot. I'm not going to strip them first, as that would take me too long, so I'm going to paint over everything. Sounds like it's going to be a mess, and it might well be, but I want these done and I want a line drawn under them so we can move forward. Now, this speed painting method I'm going to use is going to be similar to a method I used on a Raven Guard army I painted up for 7th edition when that came out. What seems like a couple of weeks ago. Consists of one base colour, one highlight, painting a few choice details, a couple of washes, and some basing, and that's pretty much it. I'll fiddle it a little bit for this project. I'm going to make a few changes here and there, but that's the plan. It needs to be doable in a weekend, or over a few days, a few hours here and there, but it needs to only take a few hours in total. Now, I'm going to pick a scheme that's very basic, but also something that appeals to me somehow. I have to accept that to get the army done quickly, it's not going to look pretty. Pretty is for display or golden demon. I'm going for finished. Once the army is done, I can then start work on all the other painting projects I've had in mind I haven't been able to start due to this army clogging up all of my hobby time. When it's finished, it'll also be a big burden off my shoulders, and we can then move on to the next burden. Probably 10th edition Warhammer 40,000. So in the next video in this series, I'm going to test out a super fast scheme to paint this army in record time. Madness, I know. If you want to see some more Horus Heresy themed videos, then check out the playlist up here somewhere. As always, thank you very much for watching, and always remember to drill your barrels.